way of doing things is done. I don't care what you say. Monsters don't sleep under your bed. They sleep inside your head. And if you haven't done the shadow work, you're left behind is where you stay. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast.
That's what I'm thinking about, right, cuz?
Melodies, close and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the street. We gotta protect plus homeschool. Our babies is a must. They not just no moms, but also no pops. Spola, worshiping pedophiles. Wanna feed our children's spirits to robots. Turn all of us from carbon-based to silicone-based. Should be where the shit show stops. Get back to doing for ourselves. Water system irrigation and grow crops. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to walk with this beast. Through tones, melodies, poems, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets. I'm saying I'm not some master teacher. No, am I some pastor or preacher? Was released represent with this passion to speak up. After doing 25 years in the beast cuffs. Realize they tried to teach us spiritual, mental, physical diet. They tried to feed us the fire of our ancestors resides in each of us. With that, I'm inspired to turn this heat up. I'm envisioning a world full of love and peace. Thus my decision is to war with this beast. Through tone, melodies, tones, and beats. But when the time comes, shoot it out in the middle of the streets.
We're really approaching almost like it's a Frankenstein moment. And they're framing it to us as, innovation, right? We should all be so excited that this is happening. And, I equate it to like a golem bringing in like these robots. They would like to feed our life force to learn us in every tiny detail, not to empower us, but to actually transform us into a robotic simulation that is under their full control.
Come on. You almost there, bro. Almost there. Survive. We was out.
I do it die for shot down. Who am I but shot down? You young fool, I'm too fly to just slide out. Blue sky but high ground. My crown slash helmet. So my aircraft still spit. Cabby tied down and even seat belted. I look down, I see green like a Celtic. My heat pulverizes, the cheese is melted. The remnants of cash money, I dispelled it. You did the fusions in my eyes, I beheld it. The finger fucked the cards, my hand, I dealt it. Felt it vibrate from the gut of my pelvic. It bust awful from ice, some velvet shit. So radiant, I keep a dark room welded. Cause you little goofies are well quick. A hot body for real monkey velvet. Body you not for Mars, the females clip. As a kid, all I did was fight. I did the bit with a knife. I know I can spit my flows to shit. To a fly, so haters wanna crucify. A real man, I still stand with the still hand. But we're Hiller man. It's not Cypress Hill, I'm Tuttle Sheep. I'm one tough cookie, I don't follow, I set standards. Catch me, you gon' have to do more to scamper. Need more to scanners, I'm off the radar. I am as you goofies play God. Some worship the Christ, others pray to Allah. Chase a high, drink paper or bra. You stagnated, while I straight evolve. At a rate, I'm dating space AC, y'all. Bust stuck in the cage, face off. Active shape, stage, fake, they fraud. Battlestar intergalactic, my mindset. Perfect comes from practice, so I rhyme best. I excel like I'm climbing a step. You got a lot to learn. I am adept, you of no concern. I am a threat. My measurement, width, lift, height, and depth. I'm just piloting up. Flying a jet, spray the adversary. Martial Chronicles like Ray Bradbury. I'm a thorough guy, goddammit. Symmetric apparel of a fly bandit. Mohawk, aviators, aerodynamics. And it's like I'm a arrow and precise transit. I'm really paralyzed with your fans get. The roads and perils, but I transmit as I transcript. Or I just spit it off the top. Take the shit or get off the pot. This shit's hot.
Who wants to get his own crew? Everybody wants to get his own crew. And then they want the other little people to never get a piece of the pie. They go for you niggas that think that y'all big good. I understand this. That's why you niggas ain't got to understand me. You niggas that know that I know you can't do nothing if you're broke.
Sharon Death. Oh, Mac, what's going on, babe? What's going on? Grand Ascension, everybody.
From the skybox, they got a scope on you.
Wavy Mac, oh. I'm in Arizona, Wavy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. I'm in Arizona, baby.
Warrior spirits inside me. That's where
You see all the mesquite? Y'all ready? Y'all ready for that? Huh? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Oh, big move, baby.
Whether your word is found or wet, there's a big fat yellow, white, red, brown, black. Bow, big bad. Whether earth is brown or flat, we want our shit.
Absolutely.
Big fool is known by his speech. Yet if
I love the whole country, though. Y'all know what I mean when I say I love.
Stand on 2 feet.
I'm eternally bonded.
The wise man known by his silence. Mostly disguised compliance. Silence by kindness. From Cashapp to novice. Other aspirants of finest. Tyrants of fire. Trying to hide to hide. I'm trying to find. And if I was a microbes, I'm hearing the sirens. Bringing my head, they've got indictments. These pedophiles, squares, groupies, and hyping. Alignments, the assignment. I'm not the wisest, I'm non-client. Our refinement and confinement, the requirements for this climate. Y'all push all the paperwork. For y'all, but they can't escape this work. I found some progress. No luck, no bread. True, for real. My soul, your home is at no deal. Ain't playing with others. It's personal, know what the business is. Big monsters.
That's some people send messages on Instagram. People are growing and saying, yo, you need to talk about this.
Whether your word is bound away.
You know, you've talked about it numerous times before. They said, we don't know if you got so many videos. I said, well, take your time and watch them. They don't go anywhere, not yet. So, I saw the dear beloved Rip, like, childhood associate, somebody who I don't hate him. And he keeps with this MAGA, this, that, and he's sounding really, really stupid. And sometimes you got to call people what they are when they act and they carry themselves that way. And a lot of people from my growing up, this is my home, right? From my hometown, right? Hold on. From my hometown, sounding really, really stupid right now. Now, I did a little thing, a video on TikTok about the words stupid, dumb, to show that regardless of the political inferiority that the CIA and them mean for people to be really stupid, which is not a bad word. You know, lack of knowledge is lack of knowing, you know. And that's what they want you. Well, he says some really stupid things. You know, and he keeps posting him and this dumb so-called fake cop, Greg Lewis, Masonic Shriner, blah, blah, blah. But you don't hear nothing intelligent coming from him. One thing I can give up for Jamal Tryman and a few other brothers, they're not, we know that they plan and there's things going on. I can't go into that. But at least they're not going crazy. Now, they've slipped up and said some retarded things showing they're not as enlightened as they think. But I have always stated, and this is where they make a mistake based upon their assumption without researching. I said you're going to vote for the slower death or the quicker death. Well, last time around, they voted for the quicker death. And even though that quicker death didn't really win, this is the game. And they didn't do anything. They didn't say anything about this, that. It shows you the conditioning, the brainwashing. Yet every time I look back at 07042, Montclair, New Jersey, East Orange, Newark, Bellsburg, all them different places, I see how it's, how do you say it, gentrified? So that leads me to think that a lot of the men that I grew up with are kind of, because you know there is a such thing as a gay bomb, right, from the 60s. Oh, San Francisco, you used to start all those men that left their wives and started hooking up and being in a big room of men sweating. And no, man, the gay bomb is real. Whether it's in the food, the water, or certain precincts or certain places. All right. Anyway, you see the gay bomb hit the staff of YouTube. I did 3 posts that were talking about facts and truth that they can't dispute or repudiate, and they wanted to go and put a little gold dollar sign, limiting when most of the I've looked at, or even some of my own, I've looked at some of the ads, and I'm like, the ad doesn't sway from, this is the consistency and consistent of the embarkmentation of stupidity that they're on. Let's play some more music and then we'll get into what we're going to get into. I didn't want to have to do this, but it has to be done. I wish I was given the title of land burner, earth scorcher, or underground ratification. I wasn't fortunate enough. I don't think I'm mean enough. That's been given to others.
I found you.
They're flying their little ships around now. They've been flying them. Now they're letting you see them.
Indoctrinated with the art of divination, power of Olaudomari and Arun Mila through initiation. The ether system, ancestors spoke, said this my proper station. Words and manifestation.
Don't try to figure nothing out. Just
My
listen.
proclamation came to earth with my calabash. Destiny in handle, I had a blast with the bags, cash in my past life. New hourglass, time to flabbergast. Mastered the craft, subtract trash, set forces in motion. On this path to determine future evolution. After I cast, add the math. Sound of my name in the ground and tremble my glory. Great astounds the simple souls that relate. Profound and nimble, sacred estate, royal crown and splendor. Move from body to ether. I carry the outchea of ether. Unlike you proud deceivers, no one can stop me, neither. The more I sacrifice, the more powerfully I excel with my dragoon. Spiritual guides, cowrie shell, flowery smell, preparation, foreplay, divination is the doorway to a transformational process. Regardless of garbage before day, my light is so bright it ignites the night. Shadow work, I fight right to my smite parasites, smite device, third eyesight, serpent lightning strikes, rumbling, thundering. The background's to back down. I'm grateful to ask you who would test you. That's rescue from an oppressive, hateful sense. Once I sworn and I'm born divine. Spiraling fire adorns my spine. Oh, do for those who want restore corn and do not adore the swine. Perceptive, the tentacle, temper, respected, no unturned stone, no detail neglected. Cherish the day, the moon in the sky. Oracle of the original perspective. I did this in heaven religiously. Divinity, your written history. Put in remission your misery. No chicken feet, father of mystery. Legacy spoken at last, the one. Fast as I spit, the task is done. Come to pass, the drum outlast the gun. I don't ride on the dash, I'm the dazzling sun.
I gotta clean my baby up. My boy is looking rough. Blue Thunder. He's about to get a rap though. Hopefully. Get a camel rap. I wanna scuff the blue off though. I'll leave it. All right, there we go. So let me pull up some information. I want to read something first, okay? I want to read a little something from the sacred science, okay? Okay. Yeah, that's banging, right? Sharon, it's good to have you in here. I guess Millennial must be busy. She's got a mag. Y'all follow Millennial now? If and Sharon, I think, has a channel too. She's doing fabulous stuff and stuff like that. I would like to transfer that over here, but I really want to build the big greenhouse, and that way she has a place. Her and a few other sisters and brothers who are really into the herb culture can get in there and they can go crazy. We got tobacco seeds. This greenhouse right here, we're gonna establish that. We're gonna set that up to grow some important things. And it seems like every month, is really kind of uncommon, but not too uncommon, depending on some snow or certain mountains here. And if we don't have it, well, we won't have it by then. We will see how this litigates. We could have actually had some posts on the ground and stuff like that. But it's better to have more and do more. You know that when you're building, you get to a point and you can say, okay, this is satisfying enough. And then you can say, okay, well, let's make sure everything is secured. And especially if you don't have walls and stuff, most of them are secured as long as you know how to do cross supports and stuff like that. If you get the wall up, you put your cross supports, and you can even tag it off to the center of the deck. Mooring lines that go on the bottom of the platform because we raised no crawl space. That one, you can say we'll have one on the first platform, which I looked at the numbers. It's going to be you want to do 30. 28 by 60. So you would say, well, that's a big platform. Well, walk out 60 steps. We could take it to 120. We're looking at how many feet are on the floor. So if you got 30 by 60 or 28 by 60, you multiply it. And you give you the square of that. And that's pretty big for those who don't know. We can actually create 3 to 4 rooms in there, depending on what they we'll actually live from the front of the house and everything. This is security also. Once we do that, then we're stuck in it. Like, it has to, you know what I'm saying? And so I prefer to put more money and tough it out through the weather, because they're spraying all kind of stuff. You hear some of the fear mongering they're doing right now, talking about people who are not vaccinated. Most people who are vaccinated have heart conditions, this, that, and the other. And they even pass them on to the siblings because it's a moving nanotechnology. This is in the medical field. I don't want to get into that. So you can research that. I'm not here to be some kind of redeemer or something like that. Not at all. Yet there are a plethora of doctors, nurses, and just a variety. Pfizer being sued, this, that, and the other, literally on CNN, Fox, CNBC. So these things can be talked about, but the censoring is still happening, and people alluded to the fact, well, Trump's not in office. First of all, they're still fluoridating your water when some countries have stopped, or they stayed there. There's a different chemical they use. They're still spraying, talking about seeding, those same lies. That's all they know how to do. And then, so they've already passed a new vaccine, all right? So you look into that stuff and see what you find out, all right? Why am I addressing these little tidbits, you know, like as far as the building, conserving certain things, where things should be focused, where fiat should go, what's going on in the hemisphere of what we're dealing with, the so-called stratosphere, which is actually water. It's because most people won't look at these things. And if they do, because they're okay, I'm breathing. I went to the bathroom. I sent my children to school. My car is full tank. My fridge is full. Well, you know, I've seen it time and time again from New York. That day, the year in 2000, when the power went out, and nobody was robbing. Everybody was assisting each other, and they were trying to figure out how is that possible, the government. And the time in Florida, hurricane, the power went out for like a week. And I look at all the food that went bad, and those who didn't have another way, they were literally going into the fast food restaurants just in order to eat. Big buckets of fried chicken, because they had this. There was solar back there, for those who don't know. Solar panels that were existed, and some were running industrial-sized generators. Now, I remember being in Duval County and people stopping at fast food restaurants in order to feed the family. That's planned out. But regardless of that, I'm not here to get into all the schemes of that, psyops and all that other nonsense. I'm like MK Ultra brainwashing. Yet you can see it if you study these things. And most people won't, because you're too comfortable. You feel all right. That is a poor, pathetic. I have no apathy. I have no remorse for any of you that fall because you choose not to study these things and look at these things a little deeper, and not to be loud on a platform and sharing it, but to share it with those around you, who respect you. Because most people who don't respect you don't really respect themselves. I respect even the people I can't stand. I respect them because you never know what can come from those individuals. So these little things here, as me always focusing, my brain is always rolling through the thumb deck. My heart is always being content with every decision I make. And if I feel like that I am not content in the decision, you better believe I will say something. See, there's a difference. And it doesn't mean I'll say it just to be unabashed and be all running around. And, it's not to victimize. I'll play victim. It's about correction. We live in a time when people want to be so right that they're always wrong. And they don't know how to make the correction because, when you get used to being wrong, I mean, that's what you seek validation of your wrongness. Virgo, I'm reading, I'm going to address this liberal and conservative thing. Okay? Because I know a lot of you haven't researched it. I know some think they know it all. I watch Joe Rogan a lot on Spotify. I have a lot of his some of the best excerpts. For those who don't know, if you go to Spotify, let me pull it up right quick. I'm gonna show you right quick, just so you can see. I know a lot of people be like, well, I take my time to do a lot of things, and I don't show my hand to every freaking body. It's just that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So we have all the different things and Manny P. Hall, blah blah blah. So if you look here, I have, and it's the light again. So this is all the Joe Rogan show. These are all the downloads I have. It's a ton of them. And I always go back and I listen to some of the full shows. I listen to some partial parts. And I look at what's beneficial. And even Joe Rogan, when he had Cat Williams, I saw the fact that you could probably coin this playing safe. But they're so right that they're so wrong. And it's not a bad thing because you can be wrong and be closer to the truth or something factual base. Like if you're still talking about outer space, you're in outer space if you want to hold on to that. How much of the air is made of water? Right above us is water. Right below there's an ocean bigger than the ocean on top. You have places right now, in certain places, Istanbul and places like that, where quadrillions of tons of water are busting up out the ground. Where's that coming from? Why is it the mountains? Why do pine trees grow on mountains? Some will say, well, because the ice. Oh, stop it. Do you know every day, every tree takes a certain amount of water just to exist? Do you know why the best olives grow in the Moroccan deserts? See, no one studies these things because they're not pointed. You're not pointing that direction, or they're not pointed out to you. So therefore, you won't research them. Right now, you have chemicals and frequencies that keep everybody's attention nil. People's attention is like this. Imagine your attention being just like that, and the attention span can go up here, right? Imagine you can go up here, but this is your attention span. I can say this based upon facts. We're actually studies. We want to see scientific or medical studies based on animals or things that are utilized to find out how can it affect you. I don't want to hear about it. I made my decision. And people think they make that decision. What kind of decision maker are you when you choose something that befits your qualm, but it destroys maybe 10 million people? Is that decisive? And then the excuses could be Ken and Karen, like, well, they should have had themselves in a better position. And most of the people that state that, especially on the liberal side, they be the very ones crying about reparations and this, that, and the other, not knowing the truth of history, call themselves black, this, that, and the other, black gun movement, black this, black sisters in charge, black. Not really accepting the fact and thinking they could change it, like the word nigger, excuse me, as they're going to pull power from. When I heard that going around in the 90s, I was like, y'all are some retarded mofos. Especially when I went back to Jersey and New York and I was hearing this. I was like, you can't take power and put it in something that's a spell cast upon you. It shows you the delusion and the arrogant, ignorant state that you're in. What do you mean, Red? I just said it clearly. And I don't go and break it down because it's there. It's in their Rolodex. It's up to them if they choose to listen or not, but there is something blocking people from being responsibly respectful of themselves. There's no positive affirmations going on. People still want to hold on to shit that is meaningless, stuff that is meaningless. You've been incorporated. That is not freedom. This is a process. All right? This is a process. And you've given into it because you've chosen to be weak. You've chosen to flagrantly, outright say, I'm not doing it because I don't like what he's saying. I don't like what she's saying. You shoot the messenger without even listening to the messages. Anyway, let me go ahead and read this a little bit. The science of the sacred secretion, the chemical, psychological, and astronomical explanation of internal alchemy by ToLU'S. I actually Googled how to say it, and I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. All right, so okay? And I'm going to start right here. It's not going to be at the very beginning of this. I'm going back, okay? The sacred secretion is the title given to the rich fluid that ascends and descends along the central nervous system. It is an eternal ointment that bathes our pineal gland. It is an eternal ointment that bathes our pineal gland, the part of the brain that connects our physical being to the non-physical plane. Somebody somewhere made a statement, and these people never were talking about this, so obviously they came over here. That fluid has a whole lot of PFASs and chemicals in it that it shouldn't have. So one thing that your pineal is calcifying. The calcifying is also speaking in its reality of existence, but also to know that your chrism, or the Christ fluid, is has not been compromised. Otherwise, you'd probably stop existing. All right, so be mindful of that. So anyway, the part of the brain that connects our physical being to the non-physical plane. You know, people take DMT, ayahuasca, this, that, the fruit, toad, the certain flowers, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with those idiots who are utilizing adrenochrome. It gives you this euphoric thing to look into the nethers and see God, but see your face and blah, blah, or to be terrified based on the fact that you live a lie so long that when the truth might be in this realm, that you are being directed in a strong focus with no sense of the cooperation that you need to make, that you have to be guided into it, can be very disastrous. And that's a fact. The part of the brain that connects our physical being to the non-physical plane. Using the knowledge of biology and alchemy, which is not bad, we can increase, because of the state you're in, alchemy is not a bad thing. It's being used against you. The power, we can increase the power of the secretion as its energy engulfs the nervous system. Thus, our communications with the universal energy field by providing the oil with an environment it can preserve in, it thrives. So that means fasting and headstands and yoga and meditation. Be careful with the meditation. Certain sounds, you don't have to have a radio to have these sounds. You can get a tuning fork. You can get steel cans. You know, you can get people to gather together like the 60s trip, you know, where you sit there and everybody's just popping out a sound. You got the wooden frog, you know what I'm saying? You got the seashells. Those are frequencies. The thing is to know which one is which and which one is beneficial, because you can't mix a whole lot of frequencies if you don't know which ones you're mixing. Nowadays, thanks to propaganda, news and media, pharmaceuticals, unnatural electromagnetic fields, insulating footwear, we're talking about plastics and stuff, modified foods and materialistic living parts of our DNA have become dormant so that our physical self can focus on regenerating the constant damage it is succumbed to from toxic environments. Now, by adjusting our way of life, we can go back to the days of wisdom when we recognize our role as part of the collective consciousness of Gaia, the living earth. That's all Gaia is, alludes to living life. Okay? The sacred secretion, also commonly referred to as the chrism or Christ oil, is a means of eternal alchemy. It is the process taken by the biological body in response to astronomical interferences to release natural chemicals that are charged and changed. That's why you must research 2.5 to 3 days on your so-called birthday. Change in order to provide the individual person with a heightened reaction, an ability to sense other planes of energetic fields that were otherwise outside of our perception. People keep talking about Tyson, shrooms, and DMT and stuff. Do you know what he's done? He has crossed the field. There is no acceptance of the narrative painted by the ignorance of media, promulgated by the stupidity of other outside factors, and he has learned how to turn it off. A lot of people says, oh, Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul. Well, first of all, he stepped on his fucking foot. I probably would have broke his jaw. According to the Gospel of Philip, this is an oil, do unto others as they would do unto you. It doesn't mean that it's equally yoked. An oil of holy, listen, according to the Gospel of Philip, this is an oil of holy unction, superior to the ceremony of baptism itself. The word Christian is derived from chrism and the name of Christ, the very fluid that's surrounding your pineal and the factors of your brain and your skull. Interestingly, the preservation of the sacred secretion is a spiritual practice. Spiritual has nothing to do with some ghost apparition or some fraudulent narrative they have y'all looking for and looking into, feeding the energy to some source, but it's yourself. Aren't you a sentient creature, being, whatever you want to call yourself? Isn't that a spiritual being in the physical, in the flesh? Anyway, is a spiritual practice that has been recorded throughout history. It probably won't come as a surprise to you that evidence shows that historic humans were far more conscious 6,000 years ago, before the introduction of TVs and computers. Back then, our main form of communication is believed to have been via extrasensory perception, or ESP. Okay? The interpretation of vibrations, clairvoyance, has nothing to do with the word. We've allowed the word to be monikered and made up by the fact that you look at scanners, Bewitch, and all those things, and some of the new stuff, Harry Potter. No. Vibrations and clairvoyance is a physical thing. Okay? And telepathy is a physical thing. Much like most other living things today, we trusted our intuition and followed instinct by being connected to the environment and the ebb. Look that up, Hebrews, EBB, and flow of Mother Earth and Father Sky. Humans, I should say man, or mankind, would allude to more of humans, not like us. Like us, but not us. Maintained their connection with the living collective consciousness of the planet and understood their place and purpose with the bigger picture of the cosmos. And then it changed. We tried to control nature rather than worship it. Humans separated themselves from the kingdom of Gaia and they started destroying and came after man. I'm just throwing that in there because that's relatively a fact. But how did we get so disconnected in the first place? Why have we gotten to a point where living naturally is classified as alternative or a movement instead of being mainstream and the norm? That makes me bring this back. That allows me to bring this back up to you. I mentioned this before. Isn't it funny how we go into a grocery store? We're told the groceries is the food and the things you need, yet it's a plethora of things. Even spark plugs and detergents and Orcon, bug killing, septic towels and rags, all kind of stuff that are just toxic and deadly. Tools. But when you go into a grocery store, if the organic food is really the only thing you can purchase, then what's the rest of it? Right? Doesn't it make you wonder sometimes? Well, let me go ahead and read The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment with a new preface by the author, Eckhart Tolle. Your link with the unmanifested. What is, only a few is going to get this, and that's all I appreciate. What is the relationship between presence and the inner body? Presence is pure consciousness. Consciousness that has been reclaimed from the mind. The funny thing is, a lot of you get conflicted and confused in your thought. That means you're not in tune with your consciousness. That means it's there, but you have no real binding or connectivity to it. It's like it's just there, floating, waiting on you, and you're doing everything in absurdity and obscurity to not connect to your truth of existence. So you run in this thing that's been formulated and beaten and driven into you, and you choose that over the legitimacy of your existence. Now, we are very aware, right, that the legitimacy of your existence has been halted, stalled, right, based on prefabricated narratives that are totally against you. And how do you stay there? How do you stay there? The source from which consciousness emanates, as light emanates from the sun, awareness of the inner body is consciousness remembering its origin and returning to the source. Returning to the source. That doesn't mean suicide, people. It's within you. Is the unmanifested the same as being? Great question, isn't it? Well, yes, the word unmanifested attempts by way of negation to express that which cannot be spoken, thought, or imagined. It points to what is by saying what is not. Remember I said when you start walking into your truth, you don't have to say nothing to nobody because nobody will have an understanding. It'll only be relevant to you. Now, in the common collective, there is a balance, and it would be known. When you're around those who walk as you, beside you, along with you, you'll know it. Nothing need to be said. So that's me throwing a big curveball at all these people talking about we woke now and blah, blah, blah. Yes, the word unmanifested attempts by way of negation to express that which cannot be spoken, thought, or imagined. It points to what is by saying what is not, being. On the other hand, is a positive term, being. Please don't get attached to either of these words or start believing in them. They are no more than signs. Remember I read that? Disguise stones. You don't take a man and wear him around your neck and put him in your pocket later. You get with it, but you stay away until you can come back to it. You know how they say when you're climbing a mountain, you don't Kilimanjaro, right? 7, which called, and you don't make it. Well, you go back, you heal yourself up, get yourself some soup, and you make plans to follow a different terrain or use better equipment to ascend. Because even during the ascent, the descent can be just as dangerous and deadly. I just wanted everybody to just grab hold of this little narrative. Now I want to read to you because we have these individuals. Now I put it over there on Facebook, but you know how the little alphabet monkeys are going to carry on. Good, that because they're not smart. I told you that. They're not bright at all. If you think they are, well, you're right where you need to be at. But they did something they weren't supposed to do. Lavender, mesquite honey, and a tablespoon and a half of turmeric. Very good for fighting parasites in hot water, so you got to drink it kind of quick. But anyway, let me cow down. So everybody is calling in the liberal and conservative narrative, they're calling one another a fascist, a socialist. First of all, it's well known that fascism is, well, let's read it and let's see what we come up with. Does communism or socialism come first? Communism, sometimes referred to as a revolutionary socialism, also to the Industrial Revolution and came to be defined by Marx or Karl Marx theories, taken to the extreme end. And in fact, Marxists often refer to socialism as the first necessary phase on the way from capitalism to communism. So you see these little liberal turds running around, crayon here, there's no name calling, I'm just calling them what they are because it's garbage. And they're rolling around on this ideology of socialism, which they said Hitler was fascism. No, he wasn't. The Jews said that. They got a problem with me saying the term Jews, which is a made-up term. I don't give a damn. I told them to send somebody over here and fact check me. They haven't done that. Have somebody come on, we can set up and we can hash it out. I think they're a little bit smart because I would really rip them asunder. Anybody in the religious field, I would tear you apart. So the beautiful thing about liberalism is defeatism by way of deflection and this Karen and Ken mentality, which is unabated, sadly, because it's actually on the conservative side as well. Sickening. Because anytime you hear some rhino, some Republican, repube monkey sitting there talking about, well, we gotta have democracy, they're not a Republican. See, this is where y'all get caught up because you've been taught a narration in school that has nothing to do with truth or divinity. It is to keep you conflicted and keep you sending energy into different parts and places without knowing the truth and being a benefactor to make change. Jesus Christmas. You can't make this up. So, let's go into this. Who was the Know Nothing Party, or who was it formed by? And I want you to pay attention to this, all right? This is the funny stuff. When I read you the name of who started the Know Nothing Party, it's like the Native Party, right? November 4, 2024, in 1860, remnants of the Know Nothings joined Old Line Whigs. You remember what Whigs are? Anybody paid attention to some of the guys doing great work out here? The Whig Party? To form the Constitutional Union Party and nominated John Bell of Tennessee. All right, this is the Britannica, if you want to go and read it, okay? So U.S. political party, there was no United States back in the 1860s, that flourished in the 1850s or 50s. It was still the Republic. This is what these Jews do. It was an outgrowth of their minions, outgrowth of the strong anti-immigrant and especially anti-Roman Catholic sentiment that started to manifest itself during the 1840s. A rising tide of immigrants, primarily Germans in the Midwest and Irish in the East, Negroes. I told you who came back to these lands, married back into the families, even as far as going to Haiti and Jamaica. In the Midwest, primarily Germans in the Midwest and Irish in the East, seemed to pose a threat to the economic and political security of native-born Protestant Americans in 1849. The Secret Order of the Star-Spangled Banner, that's why you need to look these things up, formed in New York City, and soon after, lodges formed in nearly every other major American city. Lodges, these are cult movements. So whenever I see people talking about the Know Nothing, this, that, Native, there was no such thing as a Native American, which would have applied to the copper-colored races, not to the Mongols. They're still trying to change that. We don't have no idea who they really are, sadly, except who they are. And it's not hate, okay? I'm only accept them until they come around and accept the truth, which there's a lot of them who know the truth. Okay? It's just the way it is. Right? Members, when asked about their nativist organizations, were supposed to reply that they knew nothing. Are you paying attention? If you're a native or belong to a party that's supposed to be native to the land, yet you weren't born here, because that's who established it, people who weren't born here. Okay? An institution, an instrument for segregation, deprivation, and division. As its members in importance grew in the 1850s, the group slowly shed its clandestine character and took the official name American Party because they were infiltrating, learning the land, us, and everything else. The exclusion, as a national political entity, it called for restrictions on immigration. They felt like they had more than enough here because they wanted to stop the Negro influx from Germany, Europe, the original people, because they were over there, still getting rid of them. The exclusion of the foreign-born from voting or holding public office in the United States, and for a 21-year residency requirement for citizenship. So that tells you that Africans could not have been in government. What did James Stewart say? Mr. Vertical, It's a Wonderful World, Army Air Corps, whatever he was. What did he say in 1942? He says, why do we have to let the Negroes into the movies? They own and control everything else. We read something yesterday, and we'll get back into that reading later on today, too, once we get back. And if I'm making this up, please, at any time, correct me. Hey, Suzanne, how you doing, hon? Millennial, what's up, mama? Build a big greenhouse, let you rip and roar, get all that, put your little house right beside it, Anyway. By 1852, the Know Nothing Party was achieving phenomenal growth. It did very well that year in state and local elections. And with passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, it won additional adherents from the ranks of conservatives who would support neither the pro-slavery Democrats, all right? Democrats were pro-slavery, not Republicans, nor anti-slavery Republicans. When Congress assembled on December 3rd, 1855, 43 representatives were avowed members of the Know Nothing Party. That, however, was the peak of the Know Nothing power. At the American Party convention in Philadelphia the following year, the party split along sectional lines over the pro-slavery platform pushed through by Southern delegates. Party presidential candidate Millard Fillmore carried just one state, Maryland, in the 1856 election, and congressional strength dropped to 12 representatives. Now caught in the sectional strife, disrupting all natural institutions, the American Party fell apart after 1856. Anti-slavery Know-Nothings joined the Republican Party, while Southern members flocked to the pro-slavery banner still held aloft by the Democratic Party by 1859. I want to point something out to you when I was reading yesterday. Are y'all aware that all those pale skins in the South who decided to start killing you and stuff, they were indentured and they were the original slaves? But they were treated beyond well. They didn't leave in shackles and shanties like they made up after the Civil War. The Negroes being forced out of their land and murdered and capitulated so they can get rid of the land so these frauds can do what they've done. The worst thing in the world they could have ever done. And they think that they beat it. They are far from beat anything. That is what I was waiting to see if anybody was going to say or comment with all these knowledgeable people running around with all this information. Not near one of them knew their great-great-uncles who fought in this fictional Civil War. I was the first one telling you that the Pale-Skins were calling themselves Cracker, and they use those words. We never use those terms. Cracker, and what was the other one? Redneck had nothing to do with some Pale-Skin. Most of those people running around in the South over there in Texas call themselves rednecks. They can only chase their family back to the 1860s. Maybe 80s. Rednecks had nothing to do with what you think. First of all, the French wanted to cut our throats and behead us in scalps to make us bleed red, which later we wore neckerchiefs, and when they were red founded, they said, oh, they're making more rednecks. We wore redneck handkerchiefs that were red. Redneck had nothing to do with the Pale-Skin. See, most people don't know these little things. That's why I don't entertain when some Pale-Skins talking about, I'm a redneck. I'm like, no, you're a goofy. They don't know nothing. So, excuse me. Okay. Now y'all know the Liberal Party was founded in the UK first, right? Okay. Well, some people say no, some people say yeah. I think around like 1859 or something by some dude named John Russell or something like that. So, brief history and platform of the Liberal Party. Check this out now, and we're going to read the other one as well. Okay, I just want you to pay attention to this little snippet. Brief history and platform of the Liberal Party. In 1943, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and liberal members of the then communist-dominated American Labor Party formed the Liberal Party of New York State to help FDR secure a ballot line countering forces favoring the election of Henry Wallace. Now, y'all know that Franklin Delano Roosevelt was a Jew, right? Well, an Ashkenaz, right? And had a little Negro brother in him. Anyway, favoring the election of Henry Wallace. New York was not then the blue state that it has become. Votes on the Liberal Party line won New York State for FDR. The first chairman of the Liberal Party was Adolph A. Burl, Assistant Secretary of State of the Roosevelt administration, that's a Jew, who worked with Unionist David Dubinsky, another Jew, and Alex Rose. These individuals helped fund and fight the Bolshevik Revolution. And we can go on to Spain and France and UK and everything to show you how they got three cousins to fight in 1917, murdered Nicholas Tsar V, and then were ousted while setting places up like Ukraine and Poland. Do I need to go any further? All right, so let's read. Anyway, the first chairman of the Liberal Party was Adolph A. Burl, Assistant Secretary of State in the Roosevelt administration, who worked with Unionist David Dubinsky and Alex Rose. Academians John Dewey, like the Dewey, which called Doolittle Raid? Anyway, and Timothy Costello, the theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, liberal forces in business and labor and community activists throughout the state to make the Liberal Party an alternative to the corruption-dominated Democratic Party and a Republican Party ruled by big business, as was in the beginning, and special interests to make the Democratic honest and the Republicans more moderate. Now, the Liberal Party has a history of supporting candidates on the basis of merit, independence, and progressive viewpoints, regardless of party affiliation. Past nominees have included Governors Avril Harriman, Hy Carey, and Mario Cuomo. U.S. Senators Herbert Lehman, Robert Wagner Sr., Jacob Javits, Robert Kennedy, Daniel Patrick Moynihan. I told you John F. Kennedy was an Irish Jew, Ashkenaz. Charles Schumer, that piece of crap, and Hillary Clinton is also one. New York City, do a family genealogy. New York City mayors Fiorello LaGuardia, Robert Wagner, and John Lindsay. Don't get taken abashed by their names. Okay? Look at this guy here. What's his name? Reuben, the Jewish Mexican cat? In the 1940s and 50s, the Liberal Party pioneered such local and national legislation as the GI Bill of Rights. Rent control in New York City, how's that working out, New York? Academic freedom and tenure in our schools, consumer protection laws, separation of church and state. The difference between private and public rights and an independent judiciary in the 1960s. The Liberal Party Party championed the Civil Rights Act. They did. It was made, it's an Indian Civil Rights Act created by Republican Indians for the Republic. This is how stupid they are. Yet y'all don't pay attention and listen to nothing no one says who might have a little insight. Now, I'm not even digging into the barrel of truth. I am just, my great-grandmother and all, so on and so on, let me know. I'm just pointing out what they write because this is the only thing they know how to put some truth, marginalize it, and then because pale skins are writing it, they're going to write it on the legality, the legitimacy of their ignorance. This is not hate. This is so y'all can get past 68 parallel, and you can not tear down these walls but be as you were supposed to be without the walls and the nonsense, the whimsical nonsense that comes with what you see today. Now, enough of that. Republican Party, March 20th, 1854. Oh, let me pull this up. My apologies. So, for those who didn't know, because I talked about New York, what I want you to know is the Democratic Party was founded in 1828. Martin Van Buren of New York played the central role in building the coalition of state organizations that formed a new party as a vehicle to elect Andrew Jackson of Tennessee. Okay? That's what they're saying. I'm here to let you know that is a whole lot of hogwash. I would hope y'all research it and see what you find out. I got to brush my beard. Anyway. The Republican Party, March 20th, 1854. All right. In 1854, the Republican Party was founded in the northern United States by forces opposed to the expansion of slavery because we were the original Republicans. Even though we had white slaves, hell, we had Chinese, we had a whole bunch of kind of slaves. And we had people who we took back in our families to protect, besides the people who sent overseas and down. And sent overseas of thousands. Okay? All them Indians, all of us who went to take medicine and healing to Spain, Española, and to so-called England, only a few returned. Should speak volumes. Where's the Mongols at? Oh, that's right. The Mongols are Mongols, the Ashkenaz, whatever you want to call them, usurp names. The very people y'all call the king and queen, the frauds. One and the same, just because they look different. I mean, I know a whole bunch of Negroes, melanated or so-called black folk, who look Chinese and they ain't got one bit of Chinese in them. And I've seen the babies by those who had light-skinned wives. And I saw the babies and they look like Mongols. So, very beautiful. It's not the content of being ugly and blasphemous against one another. I am just showing you something that eludes y'all. Y'all don't even think about because y'all are so blatantly plain face stuck in this myriad of defeatism and division and separation. Anyway, Northern United States by forces opposed to the expansion of slavery, ex-Whigs, and ex-free soldiers. The Republican Party quickly became the principal opposition to the dominant Democratic Party and the briefly popular Know Nothing Party. Wasn't the Germans, the light-skinned Germans who conquered the original Germans? The Ashkenaz, weren't they in New York, holding in the great halls of science and everything in Chicago, Delaware, Philly, Pennsylvania, huh? And then their very own individuals turned on them to bring so-called America into the war against them. This is all the Democrat, the most racist individuals. What was the name of the guy who created the Ku Klux Klan? And who were the 4 or 5 Jews that created the white supremacist organization? We'll get into that when we're reading the other one, the coup of 18. What you call it? See, This is what they do. And y'all, on the other hand, y'all run around so pragmatic with this defeatist mentality. Yes, that's right, millennial. Very correct. I'm not saying this for hate. This is not about that. This is for educational purposes, to bring people into a new narrative, for you to research things and to see for yourself. And don't get so conflicted and confused in it. Because I'm talking about this, it is not what makes me. Hey, Ganja, I'm gonna bring that stove. I'm gonna cook some steaks and eggs, bro. But I want y'all to really, really look at this stuff. I have to finish drinking this stuff. It won't work. It's supposed to. Honey, it tastes like I know the word love does not mean what it's supposed to be. I am eternally bonded to you, but no, I love all of you. Okay, we're gonna use it because that's practical for y'all. I told you love, the other way is evolve, which is Evo. And if y'all would read some of the old I don't want y'all to read those books because they can mess y'all up. A lot of you. A lot of y'all know that I am. Yeah. I am steeped in a lot of other things, okay? But on the righteous side of it. Because I know that, you know, I know it because I wear it well and it befits me. But the Allah, you get jealous of that, you know? And that light is important, okay? Balance. I'm not asking you to believe a goddamn thing. Stop thinking for once because y'all not really thinking legitimately. And I can say that because I know what I'm saying. If I was to commemorate myself with the past of my existence, I would be worried about everything. Calling and pointing at everything that I see, holding myself in relationship in accordance to that. I'm so beyond that. I'm attempting to get y'all beyond that. I told you the enemy's going to do dumber and dumber things because where you going? You're supposed to be asleep anyway. All right? The bees are not harmful, you know, but it smells the honey. But there are things, man. There are things that y'all should be doing that have nothing to do with the physical world, but everything of it. And I would like to see y'all actually take the time to reach deep into your eternal and speak the beneficial words, the frequencies, the vibrations that come out. Positive affirmations don't mean that you're sitting there, I'm a handsome, a beautiful woman or a handsome man. Everything in my family is mine. But get the fuck, but that has nothing to do with positive affirmations. How about I am one with myself? How about I am one with myself? My brain is the tool of information, and my heart is that which seeks that information, and my gut is that which derives all things from those sources. Therefore, I am of my own income. I am my own willingness to be not burdened upon the desires of the world around me, to not conspire with those that conspired against me, but to elevate myself to ascend whatever it takes. For I am. Is that hard? Is that complicated? I mean, if you want, you can go and throw a little bit of, bleh. What's that girl who did that? Man, thought she was rapping. Oh, you know the light-skinned girl. The one that was doing a rap battle? Well, she was going, like trying to rap. It's going, man, I can't. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, you don't have to do that. Everything out here is not against you. See, they have to have you against you. Okay? And if you're against you, then they can continue to do what they're doing. And someone say, but, there you go into the physical clandestine of self-de-appreciation and self-destruction. You're going to reward them with a ribbon and a medal or a statue. I mean, think about this, right? The Oscar is based off of who? What's the Negro's name? How about the fact you got all these Negro bodybuilders running around because of the Sandow, and he was an adherent Jewish racist. And he was not the biggest or the strongest, but this is for white supremacy, right? See, what I'm doing is they tell you that they're not white, but you don't know how things have gotten to what they are because you keep robbing yourself of your own intuitiveness, your own magnificent, unmarginalized beauty. The laws of attraction are within you, not outside of you. And you see it plain as day, how one party's acting and how the other party's acting, not knowing that there's a conflagration, there's an arduous perception based on the distillization, the sterilization, the marginalization of the Negro. So that means that quasi, it affects everything. And until you come up out of that and realize your real place in time, unless your disease is to cripple the Negro because of your ignorance, you've been nurtured to believe in something you know nothing, then you crush that Negro blood that's within you because, sadly, a lot of my Belskin brothers and sisters, that's for another time. And that goes for the melanated side as well. So what I say about them, it actually applies to melanated people, certain groups as well, sadly. And it's not a bad thing. Once you know something, you know, when you know better, you do better, right? Okay? Trump is here to do a job. Finish, complete a job. Not here to stop. He was here to stop the job before. And they showed you that they controlled it because you give them this fictional leader. These people are not your leaders. They are nothing, nobody. The problem is our people are so great that they have a whole organization of light skins who are so caught looking for the next great white, how do you say it? You know what I mean? Great white hero. That until that stops, there will always be division and separation, which didn't exist before the 1930s, 40s. Well, it started in the 1800s, but it had to grasp hold. All right. Y'all write the story. Y'all change the definitions. Nobody tells you what you accept and not to accept. And those who are borderline neo-sociopaths, that's mostly in the liberal parties. That's because they become everything that was designed for them to become, as dumb as they can be. Arguing, fighting, and they think they're right. And they're all religious too. Ain't that funny? Anyway, y'all know my Cashapp. If you got paid today, you can donate. You can help us with. We don't need tools. We got more tools. Damn, Empire State Building. But purchasing some material and stuff like that, whether it be bolts, nails, we still have a lot of things we have to get, edges and stuff like that. That'll be appreciated. I I have no problem with asking anybody anything. We live in a world where everything's been based upon the Jews calling you goyim, and creating this fake ass interest and all this other crap and depthness, but they don't do it to each other. You'll never rise above the occasion because you're so caught up in it. So if you want to help the brother out, you can make the donations. I'll shout your names out. I haven't looked at it. Other than what I saw yesterday.